Coming up on this edition of UND Sports Extra, Quentin Hooker leads UND men's basketball to a pair of clutch Big Sky wins as the home season comes to a close. Head coach Brian Jones will be with us in a moment. Women's head basketball coach Travis Brewster joins later as his group continues to grind out big wins on the road as they continue to stay in the Big Sky race. And the women's hockey program once again finds its footing in WCHA postseason play. We'll recap a weekend sweep with Brian Idalski. We tip things off, though, with head men's basketball coach Brian Jones. And, Coach, the race is on for a top 4 playoff spot. It's on the table for you this week with 2 games left to go. And from my perspective, your team continues to play its best basketball of the season. From a coach's perspective, is that the way you're seeing it?
It is. I think we knew we had to come home and win 3, and our guys responded to that test. But, man, with each game we got better and better. And I think you saw that Saturday defensively, offensively, 26-6. For the game, and then obviously we had a special performance by a guy, but it was just it wasn't all about Quentin. I think the reason why he was able to do the things he was able to do was because the team did so many special things defensively and got him the ball in certain areas to allow him to be who he is.
And he's the first person that will tell you that when you talk to him after a game, too. That's also something that makes him special. Let's start out with Thursday night's affair against Portland State, and a quick start by Portland State. They had this Big Sky Player of the Week, Cameron Forte, that made things difficult for you early on. He gets the tough 2 down low here as the Vikings built a 10-point lead, but you would turn things around both defensively on Forte and then offensively as well. Here pushing up in transition, Quentin Hooker with the finish at the other end. Portland State still up by 1 at this point, and then we see Hooker and Crandall going to work for a couple of buckets here later on, Coach.
Well, we just, again, that's a great pass, but our defense is what
Another one coming
us. Yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about. But we got out of the gate slow offensively, and I think it affected our energy defensively. Mm-hmm. Great pass there, but it was our defense that sparked the O that led us to getting a halftime lead.
Absolutely, yeah. In the second half then early on, Drick Bernstein going to do some work with the steal coming up here, and he will throw it down at the other end. 10 and 8 for Bernstein on the day. Your team up by 5 at that point. And then number 21, Quentin Hooker, takes over. 16 straight UND points. Hitting the jumper here. He had 38 on the day, setting a UND Division I record, and eclipses 1,000 for his career. What a day, what a weekend for Hooker. We'll get to his second day coming up here in a little bit.
Again, these aren't all easy shots. It's not like he's getting horse shots. The first one you saw was a great pass by Drick, but the rest of these are just, it's more about skill set there and what he's doing.
Absolutely. Under 3 to go then, your team trailing by 2. Crandall with the drive and finish, and then this almost looks like a mirror image. This, though, is with a $1:30 to go. Another Crandall drive and finish. He had 13 to tie the game. Your team goes on to win 80-77. Avance with 10 and 5, not pictured. Your team shoots 56% from the floor in the second half. And on back-to-back games, your team finding a way to pull out close W's, something so vital this time of the year.
It is, and we again, we had efficient offense down the stretch. We got a couple big stops after we gave up a 2-point lead. Again, it's just the young kids getting more comfortable, more confident, and just keeping things simple down the stretch. It's about guarding. It's about making foul shots, which wasn't one on there. Drick Bernstein stepped up and made 2 huge foul shots for us down the stretch.
Saturday afternoon, then Sacramento State and Senior Day, Coach, honoring Dustin Hobaugh and Shane Benton.
Special day. These 2 young men are just the epitome of what we've been about and just what they bring to the table every day.
Early on, it was a Drick Bernstein show. He was an early catalyst for you. He'd get into some foul trouble later on, but nice drive and slam there for the big dunk. Your team jumps out to a quick 7-point lead, but Sacramento State would answer back through the likes of Justin String. He was unstoppable from beyond the arc, 7 of 11 from 3 land. This game really would have been out of hand much sooner had it not been for some of his key shots. And we go back to Hooker, who had an incredible weekend, as we mentioned. He goes on a 10-0 run by himself after your game was tied up.
Again, you're going to see shots where he had some wide open shots, but other ones just skill set. We got great stops, but again, just strength, body control, just individual talent.
Going by everybody, so the 10-0 run by Hooker puts you up by 10, and a good senior day, a good way to go out for Dustin Hobaugh. He was tough for you all day long.
He was a huge spark even on Thursday nights, and not the points, but the defensive effort. But again, just the little things that he brings to the table, execution, effort, and energy is the biggest thing, and I was just so proud of him and Shane to be able to send them out the right way.
Absolutely. Hobaugh with 11, your team building a 15-point lead in the second half. Hooker going back to work from three-point land. That first one, it looked like he was darn near on the bench as your team steamrolls Sacramento State, pulling away 97-71 the final. UND shoots 63% from the floor, 69% in the second half, and led, of course, by Hooker. 34 points, 11 of 12 from the floor, 5 for 5 from three-point range. Whew, the Big Sky Player of the Week and the Lou Henson National Player of the Week that goes to the best mid-major player for the week. And I've run out of ways to describe his play, Coach. I'm hoping you got a few more because we got to address his weekend.
I just think, one, he scored it and shot it at such a high level, but he's still a pass-first guy. That's what's special about him. He's going to give it up just as much as he's going to shoot the ball. And I think that's where he's always been that way. He's always been that type of player. But that just shows you he understands what it takes for us to have success. It's not always him scoring. But, again, give his teammates a lot of credit, getting him multiple touches when he's in a rhythm, and he was in a rhythm this week. But leading back to when he played poorly and his standards on the road, for 3 straight games he's played at a pretty high level. Just shows you he's not satisfied with when he does not play up to his potential. But he's a special young man, and just off the floor, on the floor, and I'm proud of him. I'm happy for he's getting honored not only from the Big Sky but obviously nationally.
Absolutely. It was sure fun to watch him this week.
No
Absolutely. 2 very big games this week. You're in a 4-way tie for third right now, which puts you at a 50-50 shot to get a top 4 spot. If you look at it one way, you're looking at it as quite a different way. What do you have to do against the Montana schools this week on the road to lock that up?
I think there's so many moving parts. Obviously, if we can win out, it's gonna really do. We got to win something. We got to win a game, I think, to give us a chance. But it's our work cut out for us. But we knew it was going to be as the year unfolded. There's too many good teams in this league. Our hope is we can just finish strong and be on a neutral floor. We know we can compete with anybody on the neutral floor.
It's all out there for you. Go get it this weekend, Coach, and we'll review those games next week here on the show. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with UND women's head basketball coach Travis Brewster on the other side of this break. His team continuing to pull in W's as well.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota, RideLCars.com, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Welcome back. We welcome in the UND head women's basketball coach Travis Brewster. Coach, your team has won 10 of 11, 6 on the road. That has to make you a pretty happy coach as you hit the real crunch time here, your last week of the regular season.
Just really fortunate, to have a group of young people that are playing hard and they're starting to play together. And the other part is it's just been exciting to watch them be able to eke out games. It's fun to watch them.
Yeah, you opened up your final road contests of the regular season last Thursday at Portland State. A game of runs early on. UND jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Portland State answered back with a 10-2 run, but Maya Lloyd was on target for you on this day.
Yeah, she had a really good game from start to finish, I thought. Just really finding some holes against that zone and knocking down shots is a big thing. And, that baseline, she was really working it.
I think she might have been behind the backboard a little bit on that one. She finished with 19 and 10 to lead the way. UND up by 10 after the first. In the second quarter, though, Portland State makes a run. Ashley Torres with the steal and the finish at the other end. UND only leads by 1 at the half, but in the second half, your team was able to regroup. The emphasis in the second half.
Well, we pounded it inside a little bit, and we talked about moving the ball against the zone was the big thing. We get the zone to shift. We felt like we get better looks, and you could see every time we reversed the ball, we really got wide open looks.
Yeah, it worked on the inside to Stephanie Smith. Zabla with the long 3. Then off of a steal here, Samantha Roscoe running the floor, and she'll take it all the way to the rack for the hoop and the foul. She had 11 and 8 as your team rebuilds a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter. Portland State would pull within 6, but your team would respond down the stretch.
Yeah, again, I thought they just did a good job of exploiting, the holes when they had opportunities and they took it to the rim. We passed pretty well down the stretch, especially in transition, so that was nice to see. Yeah,
Fallon Frigie finishing with 2 there. Then Michaela Dyer's going to hit the 3. She had 12 points. Your team builds a 16-point lead, goes on to win 75-62, and a grinded-out kind of win. Portland State would never go away. The rebounding edge, plus 20 for UND. UND also had 23 assists on 28 field goals. This pesky team that only had 1 Big Sky win did not make it easy, and the atmosphere always a challenge at Portland State, isn't it?
Well, it's a little different there. They don't get the fouling that we have here, and then you look at the other part is, you have to make your own excitement. So, they give away free hot dogs and things like that at halftime, but we can't go get those. So
No.
we had to stay focused. And I thought the ladies did a nice job.
You get the W, though, and then on Saturday, you shift to the always exciting, at least for a fan's perspective, to play Sacramento State and their up-and-down style. And if you like half-court offense, you're not going to like these highlights. In the second quarter, after UND had built an 8-point lead, Taylor Brown drains the three, capping a 28-10 Sacramento State run, and that's what they can do. But UND closing the quarter on a 10-0 run, that was a huge way to end the half and get it tied up.
Well, I thought we did a good job at attacking them. And in this type of ball game, it comes down to working the principles earlier in the week, and then you have to let the team make the plays, and players always make the plays. But this one, you really got to kind of sit back and just watch them play.
We saw Lexi Clabo hit a jumper. She had a huge day for you on Saturday. Then it's Fallon Frigie hitting the short jumper. It was tied, as we mentioned, at halftime. In the third quarter, Sacramento State would rebuild its lead in a big way. Brianna Burgos with the steal and the jumper here as Sacramento State goes back up by a dozen. But in the fourth quarter, your team really took over. What were the keys to getting back in this one in the fourth?
Well, I thought we did a good job finding the seams against their zone again. We got some quality shots from the elbow, and there you see Leah Zabla getting a power score. I thought our guards did a good job of attacking the rim. And that's the biggest thing, is finishing strong through contact when it's there, and when it's not, getting to the rim quickly.
It was a quiet day for Zabla, but she had a couple key buckets for you in that fourth quarter. Then Maya Lloyd driving the lane for two with 2 minutes to go. Your team up two. Then with a minute left, Roscoe again driving, and four defenders had an opportunity to try to defend that shot. She beats them all. She finished with 16 as your team gets the big road victory, 86-79. Clabo, as I mentioned, a huge day, 18.7 rebounds, 3 blocks, a pair of steals. Lloyd finished with 18. Your team shot 55% from the floor, Coach, and had a 27-14 edge in the fourth quarter. Those are the types of things you need to do, not just to beat Sacramento State, but just to win a road game.
Yeah, just in general, just to play that type of basketball. And again, we made a lot of assists in that game on great field goal attempts. They were quality shots. You look at, we took what was it, 2 3-pointers the whole game. And so I really think that was a key to understand how to attack that zone and move the basketball.
You're currently tied with Montana for fourth place. Getting that all-important top 4 seeding, of course, is at the forefront of everyone's mind as you wrap up the season against Montana and Montana State this weekend. Montana State currently atop the league. Not going to be an easy week for you, but it is March after all, is it not?
Yeah, great holiday right now. Love March Madness. It's one of those things. We have a possibility still to finish third. Another scenario breaks down for Idaho. I mean, it's one of those things of when you're playing these games. Tomorrow night's going to be huge for us. I mean, and we're going to need all the help we can get from our fans, and and our players are excited about it. But boy, oh boy, it's kind of exciting.
Absolutely. Wednesday at 7 o'clock against Montana, then 2 o'clock Friday afternoon against Montana State. It's all out there for the taking. Get a couple W's this week, Coach. We wish you the best of luck against Montana and Montana State as you guys grind it out here and getting ready for the Big Sky tournament coming up later.
Appreciate it.
All right. Stay with us. We're back with more on UND Sports Extra right after this.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota, RideLCars.com, and Farmers Union Insurance.
The UND women's hockey team earned home ice in the first round of the WCHA tournament that began this past Friday afternoon. UND opening as the number 4 seed in the tournament, taking on the number 5 seed St. Cloud State Huskies. Early in the first, UND gets on the board. Layla Marvin skating in from mid-ice, fires it home for the goal to make it 1-0 UND. In the second period, UND has an offensive explosion. Becca Kohler with a great feed to Megan Dufo for the goal to make it a 2-0 game. Then 19 seconds later, the same two added again. This time it's Dufo to Kohler for the goal to make it 3-0 Fighting Hawks. Then late in the second, Hallie Krasaniak comes up with a shot from the point that gets tipped in by Dufo. What a day for number 19. That made it 4-0. UND goes on to win 6-1 to take a 1-0 lead in the series. Dufo with a 4-point game on the afternoon. That sets up Saturday afternoon, and UND wasting no time trying to put away the Huskies in the series. Early in the first, a minute 10 in. Some nice moves here by Kohler as she skates in and goes top shelf for the goal for a 1-0 UND lead. Then 3 minutes after that, it's Dufo back at it again, and she too will go top shelf for the goal here to make it a 2-0 game. In the third, UND extending its lead. The shot on net comes right to Dufault on the doorstep. She can't finish, but Kohler does as she gets the goal. Then later, Sam Lachaume with a nice long pass ahead to Amy Menke. And number 21 will finish for North Dakota as UND goes on to win by the same score on Saturday afternoon. 6-1 the final. They win the series 2-0, and it's North Dakota advancing to the WCHA Frozen Face-off this weekend. And with the weekend sweep, we welcome back women's head hockey coach Brian Idalski. And Coach, it was an impressive showing on the scoreboard, putting up 12 goals against St. Cloud State, something you hadn't been able to do against the Huskies earlier in the season. What led to the offensive support that you got this weekend?
Well, I really thought we just tried to simplify our game. We tried to get pucks on net and be aggressive. We did a much better job about screens, tips, gritty, kind of just hard work. And, once we were able to play with the lead and force St. Cloud to open it up a little bit, we just kind of rolled from there.
It was a weekend that showcased a lot of highlights from Megan Dufault, Becca Kohler, a couple individuals that really stepped up for you this weekend. What did you see out of them that allowed them to be so productive over the course of the series with St. Cloud?
Well, they're a talented group. All three of them are high-end players, and they enjoy playing together. So very creative, did a great job of finishing, being aggressive, going to the net, and they did what they did best. When we're scoring, it's generally that group. The hard part is, we can't always keep them together just because we got to spread out, especially on the road a little bit, but they were terrific for us.
Defensively, what were your keys to slowing down the Huskies this past weekend?
Yeah, I really thought, Ilokane and Tilke are two kids that put up a lot of points for them, and were basically their scoring. So Gardner, Kolstad, and Taskinen were kind of a checking line against them and really did a great job of shutting them down.
You're off to the WCHA Final Face-off once again at Ritter Arena, taking on the U of M in the first round, 5 o'clock on Saturday. You know what's at stake going in. You know what you need to come away with. The keys, I guess, going up against the Gophers for round number 5, I guess it would be this season.
Well, we're going to have their full attention, and they are playing with a lot of speed, playing really well. We got to weather the storm early. We got to find a way to play with the lead. And we're going to need Shelby to be at the top of her game. So if we can get some scoring out of Kohler, Doof, Menke up front and play solid defensively, it's going to be a fun game. We're looking forward to it.
Offensively, do you just hope to continue what you did this weekend, or is it just a completely different game plan because it's Minnesota?
Well, it's going to be more of a skating game. St. Cloud kind of sat back and let us come through neutral with speed and attack, and once we had the lead, then they had to open up and try for offense. That plays into us. This is going to be up and down, breakneck speed, and a lot of fun to play. So we'll see.
All right, good luck this weekend down at the WCHA Final Face-off in Minneapolis. Don't go away here on UND Sports Extra. We're back with more right after this.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota, RideLCars.com, and Farmers Union Insurance.
The UND baseball team, fresh off of its upset weekend, taking 2 of 3 against Southern Cal, made the trip to Tuscaloosa this past weekend and battled tough against an SEC powerhouse in Alabama. Starting on Friday, North Dakota falls to Bama 2-1, but Zach Muckenhern was back at it on the hill, went 8 strong, giving up no earned runs and had a career-high 12 strikeouts. Team followed it up with a 5-2 defeat on Saturday, but UND led 2-0 in that one heading into the 4th inning before Bama broke through. And on Sunday, the Tide do complete the sweep against UND, 7-1 the final. Big meet for track and field at the Big Sky Indoor Championships in Bozeman this past weekend. The women finished 4th overall. That's their best finish in team history. Stephanie Clark won the conference championship in the 400-meter dash. Molly Detloff won the conference title in throwing. Natasha Brown finished 2nd in the 200-meter dash, and in the 4x400-meter relay, Ashley Roan, Paige Slemons, Tiana McKinney, and Stephanie Clark all finished 2nd for UND. On the men's side, Nolan Hovland wins the high jump conference championship, while Jimmy Evers takes second place in the 60-meter hurdles, setting a school record in 8.11 seconds. At the WAC championships, a strong showing by UND and swimming and diving in Houston, Texas. The men finished 5th overall, led by Aaron Chanis LaRue, who finished as a conference champion in the 200-yard freestyle for the 3rd consecutive year, and the 2nd time on the men's side a UND member has been crowned a WAC champion. The women finished 6th overall, and overall 7 school records were set on the weekend for UND swimming and diving. Stay with us. We're back with more right after this on UND Sports Extra.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota, RideLCars.com, and Farmers Union Insurance.
It's back to the ice for North Dakota men's hockey on Midco Sports Network. This Saturday night, we've got the regular season finale against Western Michigan on Midco Sports Network 2. We hope you'll join us then for all the action. Thanks for joining us here on UND Sports Extra.